Evening, Blaster peeps. We have come to the moment you have all been waiting for. Here's the new Shimming J11 AK47 Gel Blaster. So, first impressions, very tactical. A lot of people are commenting that they don't like the stock on the back of it. So, that's each to their own. Daniel, Brandon, what's happening, brother? Daniel number 2, what's happening? Let's go. So excited. Yeah, me too. Let's see if I can make this a little bit more smoother than the Swift Hawk, but I'm sure I'll get stuck on a few little bits and pieces. I'm really worried about that top cover. I know I'm going to bumble my way through that, trying to slide that bad boy off, but we'll see how we go. So, full nylon construction, even down to the accessories, all the little switches, fire selector switch, contoured grip, your typical M4 style stock. Nice, cool mag. Looks a little bit bigger than the AK RX. And then the front end that everyone has been trying to mimic. So we have a few little things. Alright, sweet. A few little side notes. So changes of or orientations of a few things that have changed is battery location. Battery location, like your M4s, is now in the stock. They've got a little cool thing in there which I'd like to show you, which I think is a great idea, but the actual application of it is a little bit tricky, and I'll explain why in a minute. What else have we got? Nylon trigger guard. This has no blowback feature, but we are getting the blowback feature pack in, so you guys can, if you want, make your J11s have a blowback feature. Got your iron sights on the top, Picatinny rails on the top, where else, little bit of a block on the side, Picatinny rail underneath, and another block on the other side, so you can definitely get all your scopes and lasers and flashlights and all bits and pieces, so you can get really optioned out with this. What is it? A little plastic inner barrel, which is not surprising. There is an orange tip that you can screw on there, and sling mount straight on the stock, which I like that, I really do. And then obviously the little metal clip that they've all come out with. Motor adjustment screw, maybe. We'll soon find out. Mag release button in the same location as the last one. So yeah, let's get started. Strip down some of these accessories. We'll get inside the gearbox, depending on how what type of style of gearbox it is. I'm suspecting it's going to be a V3 derivative. If it's really interesting, we might even strip the box down, but if it's going to be just straightforward V3 box, then we might just leave it at that, unless you guys start screaming at your screens for me to strip it apart. Then yeah, by all means I will bow to community requests. So mag, boom, get that out of there. Mag release button clips forward just like the RX AK. Put a little ribs on the side here. Yeah, it is plastic. It does, the construction of this does feel a little bit plasticky as opposed to the RX. That I know a lot of people aren't fans of the RX, but in regards to looks, my personal opinion, I do favour the RX over this in regards to looks. In just construction, it does feel a little bit more solid. But if you're into your tactical style AKs, this definitely ticks all those boxes. Now, one thing I wanted to show you guys, which I thought was cool when I first saw it, but then sort of reneged after trying to use it, is, so you get some screws that go in here. I haven't put them in. So there's your wires that go to your stock, which slide into the buffer tube. Now a lot of people, you may think that I've got a battery connected. I do not. There is an adapter wire in this buffer tube, so you can run an extension. They've ran an extension for you, so you attach your battery to there, feed it through to the buffer tube, and then attach the other end to the receiver through that. Now when I first saw it, I was very much impressed, and then thought they had a little bit of forward thinking, until I tried to put it together. There is really not that much real estate in there to get all of those wires through. So, you know, if we could shorten that harness there to, you know, shorten that harness significantly, then there should be enough real estate in there to tuck all the wires in. We always change them to a Dean's connector anyway, so that's probably going to be one of the things I will do. Cut it off, put a Dean's connector there, cut that off, Dean's connector there, and then you don't have to hide kilometers of wire in such a little space. Should have a buffer tube bolt down inside there where you can change your tube to a metal one if you so do desire. Just looking for my light. Where are we? There we go. You can see the bad boy all the way down there. So you should be able to slide this buffer tube off, put on a metal buffer tube, you know, change your stocks to whatever M4 ones you have laying around. Seems pretty straightforward. Yeah, a little rubber pad on the back. It's got the cutout, which is great for me because, as everyone knows, I like to run 14 volts through my blasters, so we can come up with a 3D printed battery box where I can run it out the back here, and yeah, come up with some form of, probably like a cheek rest or something up along here where I can put a bigger battery. Let's put that aside. What do we got? A little contoured grip. How do I want to start this? Oh, I might take this off because I wanted to have a look inside here. There does look like there's a little bit of a cavity inside here where you can maybe forward wire your battery and put it into the location like the RX. For people that want to run collapsible stocks, similar to maybe if you can find an adapter plate or something like that, foldable stocks, and just to make it a little bit shorter, you can run your battery out to the front. There are a few screws along the top here, so let's pop them out and just see what type of real estate we're working with in through there. Whoop. So it looks like there's 2 screws, one on each side, and hopefully this just pops straight off. Oh, that's a bit tight. What is holding that on? Oh yeah, there we go, the front section there. Wonder if I'll have to slide that out, because that is lifting that up. So if I slide that here, see guys, we've got heaps of flex in that. If we pop the back half of it off, can we? That looks like it's well secured in there. That's not going anywhere. Nope. So I might have to take the front section. Oh no, there we go. So just a little bit of a wiggle. So take that piece off of the front. Coming around the back here, there we go. Oh, a little locating screw. I wonder if that's supposed to happen. We're supposed to maybe take off the whole front top and undo that screw there, but we're lucky enough that there's a little cutout in that tab. Put that off to the side. So that's your cavity that you can probably work with. Looks like there is a little bit of modification required to make that a little bit more accessible. Probably what I'd do is cut that tab off, get rid of that screw, because it looks like this lip here can recess inside here, and that is more than suffice to hold it in, and that may make it more user-friendly, interchangeable. Drill a hole through the front there just for your wires to feed through. So there's a little bit of an option for you guys, for your modders out there, if you want to change it back to a front mounted battery to run a shorter stock, foldable stock. If I'm sure someone will come out with an adapter one day really soon. What else can we undo? What do we got? So there's a couple screws under there. Ian, I suppose you can come back and watch the video a bit later, but then, you know, that's just like filming your favorite TV show and watching it a bit later. You don't get to experience it as everyone else, and you're probably going to see a lot of spoilers online. So I'm just having a look around, guys, just to see if there's any other interesting screws that I might overlook. Looks like there's the gearbox pin there, which is pretty straightforward. Alright, let's try and get this cover off. I'm going to make myself look like a fool here. Oh, wow, maybe not. Alright, so a little button on the back like the RX. Cover comes up, slides straight off. Whoop, there we go. There's your dust door, or non-working blowback door, however you want to explain it. Put it over side. What do we got at the top here? A little metal plate, nylon gearbox, guys. That's good. Oh, I'm intrigued now. Sounds like we'll be going all the way and pulling this gearbox apart. I want to see what's all on the inside. Alright, what else can we do? Might undo those two screws there. See if we can get this front end off, which looks like two screws. And maybe a screw up the top here. Might be able to slide that front end off. I wonder if Darren's going to come around on this video and steal my thunder. Nah, not steal my thunder. Give me some very good guidance, seeing if he might have picked something up somewhere else. So, oh. One, two. I'll take the other screw that I saw out on the top here, so that one there. See if this works. There we go. So, oh wow, boom. One front handguard assembly. Slides straight off the receiver. And looks like there's covers. Yep. There we go. So you can foregrip, if you want to call it. Oh, not foregrip, sorry. Hand grip. Little tab on the bottom here that looks like it slides into that slot there. So you can take your bottom hand grip off. Picatinny rail that's molded inside. Two tabs. That looks like is interchangeable, or as in you can remove them. That one there. And that is your outer barrel assembly. Yeah, I have absolutely no doubt that we're going to see some metal upgrade kits just like the J10, the AUG. Side note, guys, which I've just noticed after flipping this around like a crazy guy, is at the bottom here. Encapsulated square nuts. I've clearly lost one. So when you guys are pulling this apart, don't do what I do and start flipping this around. Otherwise, you're going to be in a situation like me, and we're missing a capsulated nut. Now, I think I felt that on my arm when I was running around, or I might even just go slow-mo. Ah, here we go. That bad boy right there. Usually when I see something like this, just for longevity and maintenance purposes, I do try and glue them in place. Just so that when you're pulling your blaster apart in the future, you don't have to be worried about losing little bits and pieces like this. So it just slots inside there. And if you glue them in, they're never going to pop out. So yeah, put that off to the side. Now we're left with the bottom receiver, long as in a barrel. You know, we'll do some measurements of all the components later, just so that you guys know if you're going to mod these, which have no doubt a lot of people will. You'll be able to know straight off the bat what the inner barrel length is, what you guys have to order, and this does go all the way out past here. So you know, if you want to get the same length, maybe make it a little bit longer, so that you can put an inner barrel hop up, which is my hop up of choice, as opposed to the outer barrel style that screws on the top here. It's just personal preference. I just believe that I may, it's only a belief that I may get a little bit more performance and better consistency with a hop up that's on the inner barrel. Yeah, like I said, it's just personal choice. So that little lever really does nothing now. Doesn't even hold that top cover on anymore. It's just there for show. Got your iron sights, just like in the normal RX AK, little metal tab at the back. Sweet. So let's undo that. See if this will allow me to take the gearbox out. There's a bit of a split. There we go. Yep. One hand grip, one bolt, motor 480 maybe. Let's have a look. Nope, 460. So 460 motor, guys. We'll pop this motor off. Oh, they've soldered it on, bastards. And we'll see if it's a long or short. I'm putting money on short, but let's find out. So 2 bolts there, 1, 2. Should pop this off. Give us a look at what's on the inside. Where did I put it? There it is. Let's get it. There we go. Nope. Let's get the right bit. Luke, what's happening, brother? What have we got? 23 people watching. Yeah. Most I've ever had, I think. So oh, you bastard. Don't tell me I've... Oh, thank God. That could have been detrimental. One. What's happening, Kingsley? Eltart, nice for you to join us. I'm a bit quiet in this video. I think it's just through anticipation. So short 460 motor, nylon gears. Yeah, nothing to write home to mum about. And gearbox, let's take that pin out and see if we can slide this gearbox out. So just taking the gearbox pin, securing pin out. Something like that. And one, oh yeah, there's two screws that hold the T-piece down, so let's take those two out. You don't want to see my nipples, bro. I got piercings left, right and center. I was very young and dumb once. I got yeah, piercing in other spots that you guys don't want to know about either. I have to take the fire selector out too, probably. Well, that's what I thought too. You know, I tried adopting the process in regards to the RX, where the fire selector sort of went around the side here, but after having a quick look, if I can see the fire selector plate, if I can see the fire selector plate in there, then I might take that out. But if I think there's a linkage that rolls around to the other side like the RX, we're able to leave that in there. I think in the RX, is that for your premium Snapchat? It's for, well, what do you think the whole one-on-one masterclass was all about? Oh, okay, so nozzle in a barrel. Once you take those two bolts off on the side, comes out. That's a nice short feed tube, which I like seeing that. Little recess on your T-piece. And what do we got down inside here? Looks like a mag terminal block. And feed tube, bottom half of the feed tube's attached to the little feed tube plate. Sweet. I'm always a fan of seeing feed tubes that are relatively straight. With feed tubes that have a swoop in them, they can generate feeding issues because of the swoop. So, you know, always a fan to see them straight. Let's have a look inside here and see how this fire selector switch is operated. Oh, looks like there's a lever. I wonder if they've adopted like the ambi fire selector switch, where there's a little cog on the inside here and then it comes around to the other side, like in the APS, where a lot of people take that ambi selector switch assembly out. We've got wires that come through here all the way to the front of the mag terminal, so I might pop them off, just in case when we try and slide this gearbox out we don't cause any damage, which it obviously is going to do because it's secured. So two screws, mag selector, mag terminal plate. Dump those there. One. Come on. Where are you? There you are. Two. Drop that over there. Alright, let's try. Oh, there's a bit of a wiggle. Secured long boys. Scary is very subjective, Carl. Alright. Well, let's pop this cover off then. See if Tyson's suspicions of maybe we need to take this out is true. Last time I tried to do this when I was stripping down the AK for the first time, the RX AK, boom, was misguided. There is a screw behind there. Nice call, Tice. Thanks, mate. Now I'm going to leave it in the safety position, just the neutral position for now, and just keep an eye. Whoop. I'm gonna try and leave it in the safety position. I mean the semi position, because that always seems to be neutral for every other gearbox that I've worked on. I know there was a specific position for the RX as well. I'm going to reference that a lot through this video. Oh, nice. That is, I like seeing that. So, in comparison to the RX AK, in comparison to the J11, getting your fire selector plate to actually select auto properly was a fucking nightmare. You had to set that linkage up right, otherwise sometimes you'd be put it in the auto and it would rest in that little slot and you wouldn't be able to select auto. You'd have to go just that little bit more and then that's your auto fire. Same with semi, you'd have to go to the semi slot, go a little bit more and then rest it back in there, and then that was semi fire. I'm actually really happy to see that they've changed that design and also put a only one way this thing can fit. I mean, you can put it backwards if you really want, but yeah, that'll be a little bit of I wonder if you can put it backwards. Yeah, you can. That'll be a bit weird. Extendable fire selector. Yeah, sweet. So there's only really one way to put it. There is, I'm gonna say there is no adjustment or there is no alignment of teeth and linkages, but we'll soon find out. See if I can drop. There we go. One, get a better wider angle. Ooh, what is stopping? Is there anything down inside there, guys? We see a screw holding the back of the gearbox in. Negatory on securing the back. Oop. Is there something that I'm missing? Oh yeah, there we go. So it's fouling on that. Might have to persuade it to come out. Gonna get my, where is it? Got a nylon one. Meh. So make a bit of room. Slide. Oh, there we go. Oh, it is a crappy linkage system. At least it's not as complicated as the RX one. One lower receiver, feed your battery terminal connector through the back here. Motor, boom. Lower receiver. I wonder if some parts are interchangeable between the two makes and models of AKs. So, put that over there. We now have, oh, it is the linkage system. Oh man. Yeah. I'm so disappointed now. Gutted. God damn. So yeah, be careful guys. You do want to line everything up. If you're out of tooth here, then you're going to have bad alignment through your... Yeah, it's definitely not a straight V3. It's a definite V3 derivative, which seems to be... Oh, I didn't chrono. I was too excited to pull it apart, Elhart. So yeah, I didn't chrono it, and then I, to be honest, don't have a battery to match the stock connector, because I just changed all my batteries to Dean's, and the battery inside the box is deaded, which didn't phase me anyway. 7-volt battery, always go to an 11-volt, and then once we destroy the inner gearbox, all the gears in the gearbox, then we just upgrade to metal. But I wonder if they got metal gears on the inside. let's find out. Definitely gutted to see that. See all this. AK chrono was 220 to 270 apparently. Just make sure the top teeth are aligned in your apples. Yeah, that one there, that is true. Got to make sure that that top tooth there is aligned. I suppose you can also make sure that the bottom tooth there is aligned. Same with the other side. But what I normally do, just to make it foolproof, I always mark them. Because even when I pulled the AK RX apart and I tried to put it back together, I thought I had everything back exactly where I had removed it from, and it wasn't. It was a tooth out somewhere, and I fucking... One little red mark there. One little red mark there, can't go wrong. Foolproof. I'm gonna just tossing up on what to do in regards to future mods. Do I do it now or do I do it later? I do it now. So one. Oh, also very, very good idea, guys, when you're cutting or taking terminals off the stock motor or any motor. Yeah, pinion gear was nylon, and is to mark positive. So positive on the motor, clearly red. That's your red wire from that terminal. But what I also do is I mark the housing, so I know that that red terminal was on that side of the housing, so I don't turn it upside down or do anything crazy like that. Yeah, just another foolproof way of ensuring that everything goes back together as it came apart. So as my brain ticks over as to what to upgrade this thing with, you know, I want to keep the 460 motor, then immediately I go to a red Chi-Hi. If I want to try and put a 480 motor in there, I've got some 480 AK cages floating around. So I suppose I can drop the 480 motor. If I was going to do that, then I would go a infinity motor. Infinity. How crazy do I want to go, guys? Do I go just a... Yeah, brother, M190, you're speaking my language. All depends on the motor that I choose to use. Oh, wow, that came off really, really easily. I'm happy with that. Probably because it wasn't put on properly from factory. So you see that there's a little bump in the top of the gearbox. That's what slides inside that square. Boop. So when that's fully on there, I'm not going to do it because I'm going to have a hard time taking it off. That whole side, that whole plate slides off. Put that off to the side. Yeah, so modding this thing. Do I drop an infinity? What RPM do I choose? Do I go safe and put a 18K in there, or do I go a bit mental? Yeah, go a bit mental and maybe a 32, 35, 30, 35, or do I just absolutely break this and go 45? Not quite sure. Depends how I'm going to feel later on in the evening. DSG, I absolutely would, but if I was going to do that, then I would do a retro V3 upgrade. Let's grab the retro. I'll see if I've got one laying around. I'll see if I've got a retro V3 gearbox just to compare the differences. Give me a couple minutes, guys. You got to stress test. The last time I stress test the nylon gearbox was the J9, and that was the build that I just slapped together for Spec Ops. And I ripped. What did I do? I ripped the post out of the. I ripped the locating post out of the cylinder head. And I ripped the anti-reverse latch out of its mounting position, which is pretty common in the nylon boxes. But yeah, ripping the locating posts where the cylinder head locates into that's a new one for me. Let's see if we can find a retro V3 box. Probably should have been a little bit more prepared. I wonder where. Ooh, that was lucky. All right, one retro V3. I'll buy this build next week. Man, why can't I have fun with it first? You're like my mate Anthony. Every time I build something and you know, I love it, or you know, I build something and push it to its limits and get it to work, he comes straight along and just goes, "That's mine." And yeah, he plays the 2-year-old mind game with me all the time. So there's your nylon V3 RX J11 Gearbox up against. Let's get a bit more. I'm pretty sure you're gonna have to fight Anthony tooth and nail for this one, brother. Differences. RPM's the motor. Boop. Does look like it is longer. Or maybe not. Maybe I just haven't lined it up properly. Nah, that looks good. Looks on point. My absolute favorite game to play with my son. Actually, I play it a lot more with one of my other mate's sons. He's 4 years old. It's I like playing the "I'm not touching you" game. So I'll go over to him and just wave my finger in his face. "I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you." And then he goes over and does it to his mother, which is my best mate's wife, and she absolutely hates it. And that's the most fun I've ever had in a long time, because he plays that with her all the time. What else have we got? See if there's any other similarities. Let's get some of this out of the way. Yep, that looks like that'll work there. That'll work there. That'll work there. Oh. Oh, come on now. Boom. Just seeing if there's gonna be any thing that's gonna foul if we. That looks pretty on point, actually. Well impressed with that. A little bit of a difference in that corner. I wonder why. Oh, hold up, guys. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh, okay. So there's no cover in here with the retro arms, but there's a cover there to cover that gear, which I'm going to suspect it's the sector gear. That looks like it'll work. Selector plate looks good. Linkages on the back. Yep, that looks good. I actually bought this V3 to drop into the RX AK. I might have to change my build ideas and or build 2 AKs. That's always a possibility, isn't it? Let's have a look at this. What's that box worth? 220? Is it 220? You're gonna have to jump on Jeep. 220. I don't know. Jump on our webpage and double check for me, bro. The powers to be set the prices. I just build the blasters. There we go. Alright. So that's the Retro Arms AK. That one there. Whoop. Oh. Come on. Something like that. Let's see if I can do it third time lucky. Keep your shit together, bro. That way. Oh, I'm gonna lose my shit in a second. Sorry, guys. Is a tad bit longer. Tis a tad bit longer. I might even just grab one of the infinity motors and see if I can drop it in there. That's nothing out of the realms of modifying to make it work. Looks like it's just that little bit longer. I'm sort of getting away from this whole strip down video, working out how... Oh, it also looks like it's a little bit thicker too, guys. Clearly. Yep. Definitely a lot taller. So, if you wanted to try and do something like this, I wonder, where did I put that other one? Could you change your hand grip? Quite possibly. You definitely have to Dremel it out just to get this motor cage to fit in there, because it is a bigger motor cage. But let's get back to it, eh? It's why everyone is here. Let's see what is in the inside. Me feel left hand instead. She's thick. Yeah, let's start pulling this gearbox apart. We'll take that spring out. There we go. One nylon spring retainer. No bushings or bearings on the back of that. Hopefully we see something down inside there, bushing and bearing wise. Nope. Nothing at the bottom too. Oh, that's a bit weird. One spring. Where's my verniers? So, coil 1.1. Yep, 1.1 in coil. Thickness, coil spring length is let's go down the bottom. Spring length is 150. Well, call it 148, 150. I'll call it 150. $147, 148. Definitely change that. Okay, gearbox time. What have we got here? Other side. So it looks like we have some Allen keys. Yep. One, two, three, four, five. And this stupid goddamn linkage, which I'll take off. So I'm going to take off this linkage first. pretty straightforward really. Little pivot point there. Circle drops inside, circle inside there. That looks like I can just pop that off. Yep. So just make sure the chamfer bit goes to the back. Little nub is on the front. Ooh, what's inside there? Nylon gears. Whoop. Let's take that off. Oh yeah, little locating tab. Oh, little locating tab there. You've got the other half. So that slides in, you can see it's not a complete circle. So that just slides in there. One position only. Once again, idiot proof. Awesome. You want to take anything off this side? Fire selector plate. Nope. Cut off lever, spring, all good. Alright, let's pull this gearbox apart. Give me 1 second, guys. Alright, and we're back. So, one screw got out the top. Oh, this one's a bit difficult. Last screw at the back here. Okay, let's open her up, see what we're working with. Now my pet hate with the previous AK was the trigger assembly. Oh, nice. Okay. So there's a little cover here, guys, at the bottom of the gearbox. You need to pop out. Looks like 2 tabs. Almost caught me out. There we go. So pop that off. Not literally, but looks something like that. Now we should be able to take the gearbox apart. Boom. Now always double check to make sure there's no shims on these bushings. There's not. And I wonder if there's any shims in the box at all. Nylon anti-reverse latch, spring, anti-reverse latch spring, bevel gear. Oh, let's get that. There we go. Bevel gear. Any shims there? Nope. No shims there. No shims there. No shims on the bushing either. Does not surprise me. Makes me wonder if there's going to be any room to shim or to put a shim. Oh yeah, whoop. So that's your tab, which is supposed to activate your blowback. So if you don't want the blowback feature, then you can change your piston over by the looks of it. People that do want the blowback feature, you're going to have to try and find a way to get that specific J11 piston to activate the blowback feature. In regards to getting a metal rack, a piston with a metal rack, I don't even know if I've ever seen one like that. I'm sure people will comment. Post up a link if you've seen a nylon rack with a metal, nylon piston with a metal rack online. I'm sure a lot of people will be very interested in upgrading this, considering if they want to run a blowback. There's your piston head, which is bolted through the front, and your normal O-ring, which we'll do a few measurements for my man Alfred. Hopefully that'll just be a generic O-ring that he can supply us. I like that head design, I really do. So the holes are inbound, and see how they come right up underneath that O-ring and all the way to the back surface, whereas most of the other holes are just straight forward. They don't even go underneath the O-ring. This one does. I'll explain why I like it and what it actually does. What I also do, there is a little bit of O-ring movement in that head. I'd like to see a lot more. I like that. I like how it's really inbound and it sweeps up underneath the piston. Yeah, there might even be a nylon piston rack. It feels nice and hard, nice and solid. So I'll put that off to the side. Normal sector gear. And your spur gear. No real bushings in there either. Here's your trigger switch assembly, which looks exactly identical to the RX. Nothing but headaches for me. That's alright. I'll change it into a Titan. Get that out of my life. Yeah, definitely drop a V3 Titan in this bad boy. Get that trigger assembly out of my life. I fucking hate them. They just cause me nothing but issues. So while we're here, let's see if we've got any gear sets that'll drop into it, and see if what other mod parts we can check out. Actually, let's check out the pump assembly. So nylon tapper plate. I like it when they have a lot of movement in it, so they can flex a lot without breaking. Nozzle, let's get some nozzle measurements for you modders out there so that we can utilize and see what type of nozzles we can use. Inner diameter 6.5 mil. Yep, 6.5 mil inside diameter. Overall length including nozzle 25. Yeah, 25 mil. Rubber. Rubber nozzle, outside diameter 11. 10.5. Nozzle tip length is going to be 11 mil. What else do you guys want to know? Yeah. Piston, cylinder head. Cylinder head looks like your just generic V3 head. Single O-ring, rubber pad. See if that made any good seal. Yeah, makes a great seal. I wonder if it makes a great seal with the nozzle attached. Seal with the nozzle attached. Get some of that out. There we go. A little bit of movement at its furthest travel. Definitely seals when it's seated. Now we've got to see if it seals when it's at its max travel. Which it doesn't. So, it's a massive weak point in regards to air seal. So seals when it's fully down, but as it goes through its travel and goes to its furthest point, which is going to be about there, it leaks, which doesn't surprise me. There's a lot of movement in that T-piece. Without that inner O-ring, it's not going to create an amazing seal up against that cylinder head. Let's pop that out. Brass cylinder. Let's make some few measurements here. Inner diameter is 23.7. Yeah, 23.7. Overall length 72.2, 72.3. Outside diameter 25.8. $25.5. Cool. There's your measurements for your cylinder. There's your nylon gearbox, fully stripped down, J11. See how much meat there is in regards to bushings, because I do like to recess bushings if we have to drop the SHS gears in there. Where's the top half of the gearbox? Here we go. It's really, oh no, there we go. I like that. A little bit of room for the spur if we have to recess the bushing for the spur. And whoa, look what we have here. So here's a little bit of something that I prepared earlier. It's a bit worn. It's actually really worn. I think this is what came out of one of my other nylon boxes, and that's the damage of a flexing nylon box. But that's one of our RPM 6:1 DSG. So put a DSG gear on a 12:1 setup and you get something like that. See, my main concern with this would be the spur. Just double check to see if that's going to fit properly. I'm going to totally regret doing this, but let's take this trigger assembly out. Oh, of course. Why would it be any other way? They loop a wire through. Oh, you bastards. Look at that. So if you want to take the harness off, guys, they loop the negative wire around. I'm sure they have a very good reason for doing so, but just keep that in mind. If you're rewiring, you probably have to do the same thing. We'll get that out of the way for the minute, just so I can close this box up and just double check that we've got enough room in the spur. If it's anything like the Gen 9 box, there'll have to be a little bit of modification required to get it to fit. I'm hoping not. I'm hoping it's just a straight drop in, and then we've got a little bit of movement. For that. Nah, no movement whatsoever. And that is tight, and I haven't even secured any bolts onto that. So yeah, 100%. Gonna have to recess that bushing there to make room for your SHS spur gears. Now let's just check all the spacing out, make sure that that's on point. Don't have anything binding. Oh no, that's a single sector gear. Get that out of here. There's my DSG. Well, that mesh is great. Where's the bevel? Bevel. Need a bevel in my life. There we go. Where is that noise coming from? Probably gear height. Yep. So the gear height, if we can see that. Can you see that? Ooh, maybe, there we go. There looks like there's a little bit of a gap between the bevel and the spur, but me looking at it, I'm telling you right now, that bevel is resting up against that spur gear. So we definitely have to drop that spur gear down to make a little bit more room. Just make sure it's not going to foul up against the rest of the box. If we drop it down, no, it should be good. Yeah, if you recess that bit down and maybe take off a bit of that lip, it should be really good in regards to getting that spur gear inside that gearbox. We've got clearances everywhere else. That seems to rotate freely. Yeah, that seems to be good too. So yeah, seems to be the trick is the same with the J9 and the J10. Recess that bushing down. So I've touched base on that before. I use the step drill, and I put it on a little T handle that I've got laying around. And we just get that bushing to go flush with that gearbox, and that should give you well and truly enough room for that spur gear to be shimmed up properly, and should be living happily in there. Yeah, that's about all I got for you guys. That's the J10 strip down. I'll contemplate on what I want to do in regards to upgrades for it now. I've got some V3 gear laying around here. I'll see if I can utilize maybe a different hand grip to run the bigger retro AK cage, or look at dremeling that out if there's enough room. That does feel really thin along there though. So yeah, that was pretty inconsequential, pretty straightforward. Yeah, check out the J11, rpmblasters.com.au. Also guys, you know, if you stay tuned, we're gonna release a next series of videos tonight, so watch out for that. I think it's the mod shop video, so you know, share, like, get your mates to join our page, and yeah, let's grow our community. Highly encourage you guys to input into our page as well. If you've got any questions, post them up. If you've got any builds, post them up. You know, show us what you got, show us what everyone else is doing out there. If you got any tech tips, post them up too. If you come across a fix or a hack or a great idea, post it up on our page. You know, I'm more than happy for you guys to utilize that page for the community's benefit. So yeah, looks like my phone is still going off again, a bit late. So I'll put this J11. When am I going to put it back together? Depends on what I'm going to drop inside it. You know, it would be good to have modded J11 out on the field on Sunday. That would be pretty goddamn impressive, actually. So that's a good idea. I'll keep you guys posted and see what I do with this thing. Oh, sorry. One thing I didn't do is measure the inner barrel. Before we go anywhere, let's get that sorted. So, inner barrel, inner diameter is 7.5. Inner barrel length, where did I put my tape measure? Here we go. Inner barrel length roughly finishes just before the feed tube, right there. So, inner barrel length, guys. Whoop, let's flip that around so we can see the line where the inner barrel goes into the T-piece, which is that line there. We're looking at 470. Nice. Very impressive. So 470 in length and 7.5 inner barrel diameter. So, yeah. Thanks for that, guys. Stay tuned for the next RPM video in our video series. That'll be released very soon. Yeah, if you've got any questions, as always, hit me up. More than happy to answer you guys. More than happy to help you out. Jump on our webpage, check out some of the products we've got out there. You know, and thank you once again for your support. So I'll catch you guys next time.